Last month, we brought you the story of the 3,000-year-old canoe discovered just feet below the surface of Lake Mendota. Archaeologists say it was a Ho-Chunk dugout canoe, likely used for fishing, along the same shores fishermen use today. The canoe was the oldest ever discovered in the Great Lakes region and comes just a year after a 1,200-year-old canoe was found in that same area. The discoveries themselves are monumental, both for the Ho-Chunk Nation and the Wisconsin Historical Society. But they also suggest more history could still be hiding beneath the surface. And as Warjalis explains, the possibilities are almost beyond imagination.
They're bringing up an item that, truth be told, shouldn't exist right now.
On the banks of Lake Mendota's south shore, Bill Quackenbush, Tribal Historic Preservation Officer for the Ho-Chunk Nation, awaits what he says is just a small piece of Ho-Chunk heritage, a 3,000-year-old dugout canoe.
It holds a little, if any, sacred value, but it holds a vast amount of practical value and the ability for it to assure that, our oral history remains accurate.
After hours of careful maneuvering of the ancient vessel, it touches land again for the first time in 3,000 years. But with the canoe now on shore, what next? We took a trip to find out.
It stores millions of objects, 400,000 archaeological records, and many, many other things from the history of Wisconsin.
In a large, secure building on Madison's east side, we found the state's archival preservation facility and met state archaeologist Jim Skibo.
So this 1,000-plus-year-old canoe is just casually sitting next to the first culvers.
Yeah, I call this the canoe room now, but it's really the large artifact storage room.
That's right. The now 2 historic Ho-Chunk dugout canoes will be sitting in a tank right next to the original Culver sign, Tommy Bartlett boat, and a vintage Wienermobile. It sounds like something out of an Indiana Jones movie, but rest assured, the canoe is being taken care of.
And so right now it's in deionized water, and then it's treated with UV filters.
Maritime archaeologist Tamara Thompson is the one who found the canoe, and the other 1,200-year-old one found last year.
Not even looking for canoes. Again, we were just putting time in underwater and looking at fish, and by gosh, there was another dugout canoe.
With a sample, the canoe was radiocarbon dated to 1126 BC.
And I was like, that's wrong. This is really wrong. The guy said, I'm very certain that this is the date, but I'll run it again.
But it wasn't wrong, and the 2 canoes, although dated more than 2,000 years apart from each other, were found just feet apart, meaning there was likely some type of Ho-Chunk community in this area for thousands of years.
The next thing we're going to do, as soon as the water freezes, you take the ground-penetrating radar out onto the ice, and it can go through the ice, go through the water, and go into the sediment and see not only are there more canoes, but there's likely villages that are underwater right now, 200 yards offshore from the current shoreline. It's likely there was a big village, That's where you bury your canoe, where your village is.
The discovery opens up the possibility of a future excavation, potentially on one of the oldest village sites in Wisconsin history. It changes the game for Wisconsin archaeologists, but for the Ho-Chunk people like Quackenbush, it also shows some things never change.
It doesn't change, our history. Is it as important to the Ho-Chunk to bring a dugout canoe as it is to today's society, and to verify that human occupancy has been in the state of Wisconsin here for quite some time.
In Madison, Warjalis, 27 News.
What a story. And Skibo says the 2 canoes will be treated for 3 years to ensure preservation. Then they'll be put on display at the Wisconsin Historical Society's new History Center Museum in 2026.